Okay, let's say this is my tithe. What kind of impact will this make? Before I really answer that question, let me say this. If you are a Seventh-day Adventist and you believe we have a worldwide message, that means members from everywhere need to give to everywhere. And that's the way our system works. Well, there's something else here. But if you say, I want all this money to stay right on the local level, I'm really not happy with how it's being used all around the world, you are doing nothing but practicing what I call selfish generosity. If we believe in a worldwide message, we need to focus on the world first, our divisions and unions and conferences second, our local church third. Now, you may not agree, but that's kind of what some of the research tells me. Well, here's the impact. One of the divisions of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, there's 13 of them, one of them takes in almost $1 billion a year. I can't even understand that. But sometimes administrators are trying to figure out how to administrate this money because they don't seem to have enough. The impact of tithing, and what I'm suggesting to you, is we're not bringing all the tithe into the storehouse. Because if we brought all the tithe into the storehouse, there would be enough. There'd be meat in the house. The impact of tithing is like this. What's the purpose of tithing? And you might say, well, it's to pay the gospel worker or the preacher. And I'm going to ask you again, what's the purpose of tithing? And you'll think a little more and you'll say, well, it's to take the gospel to the world. Exactly. It's to promote the gospel of Jesus. So I picked out an experience, I call it baptism. That symbolizes taking the gospel because that represents a changed life. That's the purpose for returning tithe, is to see that person baptized. Oh, by the way, preacher, you're irrelevant. I'm irrelevant, and I'm used to living on the tithe. Preacher, the tithe is for that gospel. You and I, preacher, we just get to go along for the ride. That's the way God works. What do you give? 10 plus 10. That's what I would recognize, and I would encourage you to do that too. 10% tithe, 10% offering. Do you realize Ellen White says money equals souls? When you give your tithes and offerings, remember, money equals souls.